Today, Cyprus is known for being a divided island between Turks and Greeks, with both sides claiming that the island belongs to them. Yet, just over 12,000 years ago, this was a land of dwarf mammals, such as tiny elephants and small hippos, which thrived in extreme isolation. The arrival of the first humans marked the end of the Cyprus's prehistoric period, with its unique and fascinating mammals that would never be found in the modern world. However, even today, Cyprus continues to impress with its incredible wildlife, supported by its rich flora and fauna. These days, people commonly associate elephants with being heavy and large. However, this doesn't apply to the Cypriot dwarf elephant, considered the smallest elephant to ever exist. It's believed to be descended from the straight-tusked elephant that once inhabited vast expanses of prehistoric Europe and was, at a time, considered to be one of the largest elephant species. A fully grown, straight-tusked elephant was 4 meters or 13 feet tall and weighed 10 tons or 22,000 pounds. During the late Middle Pleistocene, around 200,000 years ago, these gigantic elephants reached the island of Cyprus. They likely crossed the Mediterranean Sea from the Anatolian Peninsula during a glacial maximum when sea levels were low and Cyprus was visible from the land we call Turkey today. During the periods of isolation, the elephant population adapted to the surrounding conditions through the evolutionary mechanism called insular dwarfism. This made them the smallest elephant species to ever exist. The estimated body weight of the Cypriot dwarf elephant was no more than 200 kilograms or 440 pounds, a staggering weight reduction of about 98% from its ancestors, which weighed more than 10 tons or 22,000 pounds. The reduced body weight was similar to that of a domestic pig, and they stood only 1 meter or 3.3 feet tall, similar in size to a mute swan. To put this into perspective, the smallest living elephant today is the Borneo Pygmy elephant, which has an average height of 2.7 meters or 9 feet tall and weighs around 3,600 kilograms or 8,000 pounds, making it a true giant compared to the species from Cyprus. Like other elephant species, the Cyprus dwarf elephant was herbivorous and primarily consumed grasses, leaves, shrubs and fruits. They were highly social animals that lived in small hordes comprised of males, females and cubs. These elephants lived alongside the pygmy hippos and shared a similar ecological niche. It's unlikely that they could confront each other for food, as elephants could reach higher levels of vegetation using their trunk, while hippos were primarily ground-feeding. The coexistence of dwarf elephants and pygmy hippos in Cyprus could have lasted much longer if only humans hadn't arrived on the island. A study from 2024 estimated that when humans first arrived on the island, there were around 5,000 dwarf elephants on the island. Due to their slow life cycle, the elephant population would have been vulnerable to hunting. A model based on reconstructions of human energy demand, diet composition, prey selection, and hunting efficiency suggests that 3,000 to 7,000 hunter-gatherers who arrived on the island likely caused the extinction of the dwarf elephant and the pygmy hippo in less than 1,000 years. The latest possible extinction date of the Cyprus dwarf elephant is around 9,100 years ago. Unfortunately, we will never see an elephant with those unique characteristics again. A pretty similar elephant species existed in Malta and Sicily. However, it became extinct much earlier, around 200,000 years ago, which means that the Cyprus dwarf elephant was the last of its kind. However, elephants weren't the only mammals to undergo extreme changes on the island. The next member of our list is the Cypriot pygmy hippopotamus, who lived alongside the dwarf elephant and faced a similarly tragic fate. It was the smallest dwarf hippo in the Mediterranean region. This tiny creature stood at only 76 centimeters or 2.5 feet tall and weighed just 130 kilograms or 290 pounds. It was roughly the same size as the African pygmy hippo, but based on its morphology, it's more closely related to the common hippo than the West African pygmy hippo. Unlike the latter, the Cypriot pygmy hippo became a unique species only after migrating to Cyprus in the late Middle Pleistocene around 200,000 years ago. On the island, it underwent a process of insular dwarfism, similar to that of the Cypriot elephant, due to limited food and resources. During the late Pleistocene, the Cypriot pygmy hippopotamus and the similarly sized dwarf elephants were the only large mammals native to the island. They were among only 4 terrestrial mammal species, along with the still living Cypriot mouse and the extinct Cypriot genet. The island of Cyprus was a natural paradise for them, as no predators could threaten their existence. This led to significant changes in some of their survival instincts. After studying the hippo's bones, scientists have suggested that the Cypriot hippo was unable to run quickly, making it an easy target for the first humans who arrived on the island. In terms of diet, the hippo mainly preferred leaves, fruits, and various grasses. It was well adapted to a mostly terrestrial, browsing lifestyle, as evidenced by its lower orbits, nostrils, and a shortened, narrow muzzle, compared to semi-aquatic groups. The Cypriot pygmy hippo became extinct around 12,000 years ago due to human overhunting, similar to the fate of the Cypriot elephant. However, the remains of the dwarf hippos are more abundant in the localities where they are found, suggesting that the hippo population slightly outnumbered the elephant population. A similar species of hippo, the Cretan dwarf hippopotamus, existed on the island of Crete but became extinct around the same time as the Cypriot one. Interestingly, the islands of Cyprus and Crete are roughly the same size, but the Cretan dwarf hippo was twice as big as the Cypriot one and lived on the island of Crete for over 500,000 years, while the Cypriot pygmy hippo existed for only 200,000 years. It's sad to see how those two iconic animal species have gone forever. Leaving the island of Cyprus was a depauperate fauna by the late Pleistocene. The only terrestrial endemic mammal species left on the island was the Cypriot mouse, which is fortunately still extant. The Cypriot mouse is the first new mammal species to be discovered in Europe in over a century. DNA tests in 2004 confirmed it's a distinct species of a mouse. Unlike other European mice, the Cypriot mouse has larger ears, eyes, and teeth. It's characterized by its small size, with adults typically measuring around 8 cm or 3 inches in length from the tip of their nose to the base of their tail. Despite its small size, the Cypriot mouse has a sturdy build, with a relatively plump body and a short, stocky tail. In terms of weight, these mice are generally quite light, weighing around 15 grams or 0.5 ounces on average. The Cypriot mouse can be called a living fossil, as it has undergone minimal superficial changes since the Pleistocene epoch. However, this evolutionary stabilization may have led to the rodent's survival to the present days, as it was the only terrestrial mammal able to adapt to the arrival of humans. In terms of diet, the Cypriot mouse is primarily herbivorous, feeding on a variety of plant materials. It consumes seeds, fruits, leaves, and stems on the ground and in low vegetation. The Cypriot mouse plays a significant role in seed dispersal, as it often collects and stores seeds for later consumption. It not only aids the mouse's survival but also contributes to the ecological balance of its habitat. This mouse species is well adapted to Cyprus's Mediterranean climate and can be found in various habitats, including forests, scrublands, and agricultural areas, especially vineyards. It's a nocturnal creature, meaning it's primarily active during the night. This behavior helps it to avoid predators and humans and reduces competition for resources with diurnal species. The Cypriot mouse's fur is soft and dense, providing insulation against the cold temperatures in winter. Most individuals have a brownish-gray or sandy brown coat, which helps them blend into the surroundings. Their fur also acts as a camouflage, allowing them to remain inconspicuous and avoid potential predators. Due to its small size and elusive nature, humans don't often see the Cypriot mouse. However, this species is an important part of the island's ecosystem. Therefore, conservation conserving the Cypriot mouse is crucial for maintaining Cyprus's biodiversity and preserving its natural habitats. It's fascinating how such a small creature can play a key role in the stability of the island's nature. Among the rare endemic fauna, the Cypriot Genet stands out as the only carnivore. However, it's poorly known due to the limited material that exists in just 2 localities. This suggests that the species was naturally declining during the late Pleistocene epoch. The Cypriot Genet was a small, cat-like animal with a body length of 55 cm or 21 inches and a weight of 1.8 kilograms or 4 pounds, similar to the common genet, its closest living relative. The dental morphology of the Cypriot genet shows adaptation towards a more carnivorous diet compared to the extant common genet. This adaptation likely occurred because late Pleistocene Cyprus had no natural predators, creating an empty niche that the genet began to fill. Its varied diet mainly consisted of small mammals, lizards, birds, eggs, amphibians, scorpions, and figs with olives. However, its favorite delicacy was the wood mouse. Smaller rodents were captured by the back, killed with a bite at the head, and then eaten starting from it. The genet located their prey primarily by stand and killed with a bite to the neck, similar to cats. It likely became extinct around 12,000 years ago, following the arrival of humans to Cyprus and the introduction of invasive species. This extinction marked the end of the prehistoric Cyprus and the beginning of a new epoch, with new animals migrating to the island, one of which was the Cypriot Mouflon. It's an endangered subspecies of mouflon endemic only to Cyprus in the mountains of the Paphos district. It is the largest wild animal on the island, and due to its uniqueness and rarity, it became the national animal of Cyprus. It's believed that the mouflon first came to the island around 10,000 years ago. Quickly, they filled empty ecological niches after the extinction of elephants and hippos. Excavated mosaics reveal that the mouflon was well known during the Hellenistic Roman period. There is sufficient evidence to prove that for thousands of years, mouflons existed abundantly in all mountainous and semi-mountainous regions of Cyprus. They were an important food source for the people of Cyprus, especially during the more difficult periods of the island's history. Hunting mouflons was a popular sport for the privileged ruling classes during the Middle Ages. However, after the Ottoman Empire captured Cyprus in 1570, the situation worsened for the mouflons. Imperial laws permitted uncontrolled hunting, and when the Ottoman Empire left the island in 1878, the new British administration found only 20 mouflons remaining. Numerous hunters had nearly wiped them out. During the British colonial period, the Forestry Department and the police implemented measures to protect the mouflon from poachers. In 1939, all forests around Paphos were permanently closed to safeguard the remaining population. As a result of these efforts, the mouflon population significantly increased. By 1997, the number of mouflons had reached 1,200 individuals, and today the population is estimated to be around 3,000 animals. The Cypriot Mouflon is a very cautious, shy and agile animal. It moves very fast on steep slopes and is difficult to approach, especially when frightened. The mouflon's habitat today is mountainous, wooded terrain with some parts bordering agricultural land. The Cypriot Mouflon has short, reddish to dark brown hair with dark black stripes on saddle area. In winter, their coat becomes heavy and dense, while in summer it becomes lighter in thickness and color to cope with the heat. The male mouflons have heavy, sickle-shaped horns that can grow up to around 55 cm or 21 inches in length, and mouflons can weigh up to 50 kilograms or 110 pounds when mature. Their diet primarily includes soft, tender shoots, wild berries, and various weeds found in the forest's shady ravines. During the fall and winter, mouflon consumes fruit, which can make up a significant portion of their diet. In the spring, they eat a larger quantity of tree leaves. However, despite their increase in population and the restoration of their natural habitat, the mouflons are still threatened by poaching, lack of water, diseases, forest fires, and the introduction of exotic animal species. During the last decades, the climate of Cyprus have become much warmer and drier, which can affect the mouflon's lifestyle. If you found this interesting, make sure to watch my recent video about 6 magnificent parrot species that became extinct forever.